See what I see? There's people in the balcony up here. That's why they put them in the balcony. Well, like I say, I'm Josh Turner, and it's good to be here. September 10th, 2021. And everybody knows what tomorrow is. It's the 20th anniversary of 9/11. And for those of you old enough to remember, it was quite the day. I actually I had just graduated from college there in Nashville, Tennessee. I was living in a little 535 square foot apartment by myself, and I hadn't started touring yet, but I had a publishing deal there in Nashville, so all I had to do when I woke up in the morning was just think about writing songs. It was a pretty good gig at the time. It didn't last long, but it was a pretty good gig. And I remember waking up that morning, I turned the TV on, and every channel you turned it to was coverage of what had happened in New York City. And so at some point, I decided to put a VHS tape in my VCR. Y'all remember what those are? And I just started recording, just hours and hours of coverage, and because I knew that one day I'd be thankful that I did that. So fast forward 20 years down the road, I'm married, got 4 children of my own, 4 boys, and you know what they say about 4 boys, they're the equivalent of 1 girl. That's another discussion. So anyway, they're obviously too young to remember something like 9/11, and we've talked about 9/11 before, but there's really no way you can tell somebody about 9/11 that didn't experience 9/11. So I figured the closest thing, or the closest way that I'd be able to allow them to experience 9/11 was to let them see that old VHS tape that I had recorded 20 years earlier. Well, the interesting thing is that I hadn't watched it in 20 years. I actually had to go dig for it and find it, and I realized that I hadn't labeled it, so I'm probably not going to be getting any phone calls from any museums anytime soon to be a curator. But I found it, luckily, and we watched about 30 minutes of this coverage yesterday. And it took me back to that day. And I don't know y'all's stories. I'm sure each and every one of you has a story. Everybody remembers where they were when that happened. But it brought up a lot of emotions in me. It brought up a lot of patriotic feelings in me. Because I saw a country that, in the midst of a tragedy, came together and was united and came together to help one another, no matter where they were from, no matter what their background was, no matter what their beliefs were. It's like they said, we were all Americans on that day, and so that was a glimmer of hope, in the midst of a tragedy. And another thing that I did that day was when I had enough of the TV, I got out in my truck and I just drove around town, and every business that I passed by on their marquee had some patriotic message out on their marquee. So that's my 9/11 story. I'm sure each and every one of y'all has a story of your own. And so tomorrow we celebrate, I don't want to say celebrate, that's not the right word, but we commemorate 20 years of 9/11. And so I just want to remember all of the families that were affected, all of the people that were lost and killed on that fateful day back in 2001. So.